I absolutely love creating little journals, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you a few ideas of creating a fun flip journal. This one is not finished yet. I've got a few ideas of things that I want to do. I've used acrylic paint and acrylic pens and a fine liner pen. You can use whatever you like, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this little one. Oh, let's flip that down like that.
Hello and welcome to Friday Art with me, Kate Field. I release art tutorials every Monday and Friday and a little wandering in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. I am so pleased you are here. A huge welcome to you if you are new, and welcome back all you lovely, lovely people who keep coming back week after week. I really hope you are going to enjoy this one as we put together a little flip journal. Are you ready? Let's go.
So we're going to start making the little journal using 230 grams per square metre paper. This is A4 size, which is like letter size. And we're going to have four sheets of paper. We're going to join them up in pairs and then cut this way. And I'm going to join them. I have some already done. Here we go. I've just joined it with some masking tape. So these are just two sheets of paper joined with masking tape. Now, with this paper, one side is slightly different to the other. For me, it doesn't make any difference, but for you, that might make a difference. So just choose what you want. And then we're just going to cut it down the middle. Now I've just done this one, and I'm just going to do two more sheets, I think, just so that I've got some spares. So we end up with these strips. Now, if you have A3 size paper, you don't need to join up, because two sheets of A4 will make A3, and so you don't need to join them together. But most people don't have A3. And I do, but I like to actually use that as A3, if you see what I mean. Anyway, we're going to end up with four of these, and then we're going to join them together. Now, there are lots of ways to join pages together, but what we're going to do is to put one on top of the other, and then on top of the other, and on top of the other, like that. And then I'm just going to fold them all. Because this paper is quite thick, you do get a bit of bulk here, but that will be okay. We're not going to worry about that at the moment. And I'm going to join them together using a stitch down through the masking tape. So the masking tape does need to be quite tough, but it will work together. So I'm just going to punch some holes in, do some stitches. You could also staple these together. That would be fine as well. You could also just tape them. Just use your masking tape and do it that way. I'm going to stitch because I think it's quite nice, but you do what you want. You also don't have to have four. You could just go with three. If we go back to this one, let's just open it out and I'll show you. Let's just do that. Some unfinished pieces here. And I stapled these together. They're just three strips. So it's up to you really what you want to do. So I'm just going to punch some holes in there and do a bit of stitching, and then we're going to really fold down on that crease and keep it all nice and tight. I'm actually going to put another piece of masking tape over this one. This will be the outside. I'm going to line that up like that, and then trim up the edges. Just gives it a little bit more strength. Let's just cut those bits there, and like that. So that is going to be folded down and that's going to be my front and back. So let's just pop those ones there, and you can see that's the back. So I'm just going to punch holes and give it a stitch. So I've stitched those through there. I've just used some cotton string actually. That's going to be the back, and I'm going to put a cover on this, so I'm not worried about covering that up. This is going to be the middle of the book, and so I need to kind of use this as part of it. I'm not going to disguise it in any way. That's why I've done it quite neatly. These are just an inch apart. Now I'm going to take each edge, and what we're going to do is to fold it into the middle. Just going to leave a gap of a couple of millimeters to keep that piece of string exposed. My folder, just going to press that down, and then this one comes in to match. You could just do it by eye, or you could measure it, whatever you want to do, like that. And that's our centre pieces. I'm just going to fold that bit over there, keep folding that down, take this edge and fold it in, just leave a little bit of a gap. It just makes the book fold and open a bit better, like that. Fold that one over the top, and this one the same, like that. See, they don't match up at the moment. That's fine. I might just sort of manipulate them just a little bit. This is the front cover, but we're going to fold this bit in first. We're going to do something different on the other side. Let's just do this one first. So we push those down, and then we flip them all over. So that was our middle bit. And I'm going to fold them all over that side. Do the same with this side. Fold it down, put that crease in, flip it over. I do like these sorts of journals because they're a little bit unexpected, and when you open them you can't sort of see everything all at once, and I really like that. And it also means you have some double pages that you can really play with. So we're just going to go right. This is the last one, and what we do is we fold the whole lot all over. Then we take this back page and we fold it, and because you've got all of this bulk, you have a gap, but that's all part of the charm, I think, anyway. So we're just going to open that. So that's all the book in the middle, and that folds like that, and that folds like that. Now let's go back to this one. Let's just fold it all up, and I'll show you my other ones as well. With this back page, I cut it because I thought it was a little bit more interesting. So I think I might do the same with that one, but perhaps in a slightly different way. I wanted to show you another one. No, here it is. So this is one I did last autumn, sort of Halloween time, that I've called 81 pumpkins, because I did so many pumpkin demonstrations that I ended up with a lot of pumpkins, as you can see. The flip book is made in exactly the same way. Long strips of paper. It was quite fun. I did enjoy doing this one. It was great fun, and I wrote a little story about 81 pumpkins. Yeah, so where was I? Let's just pop that there. This cover here, I just did a curve because it reminded me of a pumpkin. So you might like to do something like that. Now, also with this one, I'm just noticing that I cut some of the pages onto a curve, and I'm going to do that with this new one as well. And this is the centre page of the pumpkin one, and I've cut shapes into that as well. So don't feel that your pages have to be square or rectangular. You can put quirky shapes into them as well, and that is exactly what I'm going to do with this one. Now, because this is going to be full of sort of like landscape type ideas, although I might evolve that as it goes, what I want to do, this is the front and back, I want to cut out a bit of a landscape shape. So that's what I'm going to do on this front cover. I'm just going to tuck those out of the way, and I'm going to put in a rolling hill that just goes up to the top there, and I'm just going to cut that out with scissors. Now I'm going to be working with some mixed media for this, but we're going to start off with acrylics. So I've been using watercolour a lot over the last few weeks in workshops and in classes, and I just thought let's go back to acrylics for a little while. So that's my back page folded over, and I've got this shape here, which I like. That's exactly what I want. I might even do one down there as well. I might come back to that, because this is the thing with this sort of journal, it will evolve, and you'll have ideas as you're doing things like backgrounds and waiting for stuff to dry, and you think, oh yeah, that would be good. Now I quite often start in the middle, and let's find the middle. Here we go. Here is our middle. And this, I feel, is the important bit. So I'm going to start here, but it's your journal, so you start wherever you want. I am going to keep this here. I might paint that bit, I might not. I'm going to put in a bit of rolling hills, but I'm going to do this with some acrylic paint to get those all ready, and then we're just going to dive in. So I'm going to be using a variety of different types of acrylic paint. You could use whatever you have. And I'm going to be using a sponge and scraper, maybe bits of cardboard, things like that. The overall feel of this is going to be slightly landscapey, as I said, but it's going to be quite abstract. And I just want to encourage you to just perhaps try something that you haven't done before. Try different colours, something like that. Just tidy up that bit, and just to kind of see what happens. Really, I think that when we allow ourselves to play, we come up with some really great ideas. So I've just put these onto a bit of plastic. I don't like I don't like spending a lot of money on stuff if I don't have to. So I have just flattened these all out just because it's easier to work. Now, in workshops when I've done this, some people have preferred to put paint onto the paper before putting it all together, and you can absolutely do that. I prefer to do it in a book, and I'll show you why as we go, but this is the centre point. I'm going to start with some yellow. I'm going to scrape this yellow on to the page like this. I'm not adding any water at all. I like this texture. This is what I want to achieve, to get this sort of textural type effect. I am going to be using some stencils a little bit later. You don't have to. I would encourage you to make marks with whatever you have. Bits of cardboard, sponges, bits of plastic, anything like that is going to work. Just going to put that over like that. It's going to pick up a little bit of this sort of orange. Again, I'm not adding any water, so this will dry quite quickly, even though parts of this are quite thick. And remember that there will be messy stages, and don't get despondent. Don't get despondent with the messy stage. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy making a mess. If someone asks you what you're doing, you can say, "Do you know what? I'm just making a mess. I'm just making a mess." Like that. And then I'm just going to pick up on a little bit of pink, just on the edges here. I know you're thinking that doesn't look anything like a landscape, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't at the moment, but it will. You could do yours completely abstract and not have any theme at all. Sometimes I think it's quite nice to have a theme in an art journal. So it doesn't matter if I go over this centre bit just a little bit. That's okay. So I am going to leave that to dry. It won't take very long because, as I said, there's no water. And then we're going to go into another page. Well, these are definitely the colours I need for the day, because we have had so much rain and so much cloud. I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to go full on bright. And also the last few tutorials have been a little bit more sombre, haven't they? Anyway, I have returned to the neon. I also thought I would add a little bit of liquid acrylic, the pearlescent, which is gold. So tiny touches of gold on this as well. So I've created some backgrounds. I've still got a few blank pages there that I will return to. But I just thought what I'm going to do now, added a little bit of purple, and that gave me an idea. And I want to start adding some stencils just to give a bit more texture. And again, this is still very, very messy, and that is absolutely fine. Now, when I do these in workshops, I can see people going, "Oh my gosh, what is going on here?" And if you're thinking that, you're not alone. I really want to encourage you to make the mess, because what you can do with it afterwards, and what we're going to do in a moment, you'll see how creating a mess for the background will just give so much more energy to the final ideas. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. So I'm just going to take this page, I think. I've got a few stencils that I want to use. I'm going to be using my sponge and a bit of gold and maybe a little bit of purple and grey, just to sort of give it another little bit of interest. Anyway, going to do that just a moment. So I've got some stencils here. I'll show you those in just a moment. Just going to put a piece of paper, I might put a bigger piece under that one. Let's just pop that one under there. So the various stencils that I've got, I do have a lot of stencils. I've been using stencils for very many years, and if you get fairly good quality ones, you can keep washing them and use them over and over again. So I've got some sort of slightly organic shapes, and I've got some that are a bit like trees. So I'm going to be using some of those, some swirly ones, some circles. I'm just going to see how we go with them. I'm going to be using sponge, like I said, still continuing to use the acrylic paint. I've got a tiny bit of copper on this one. Now, if you haven't used stencils before, there are a few little tricks. The first is not to put too much paint. That's the most common error, is just too much paint. And what I'm going to do is just going to take bit down the bottom here, and I'm just going to very lightly on the paint just put this kind of hint. I'm not going right up to the edge because I don't want that straight line. Again, I want this to be quite organic. You'll see when I lift this up what I mean. So I'm just going to lift that up, and that's the effect that I want along the bottom. I'm going to do a little bit more over here. Same colours. This is like a maroon, purpley maroon mixed with a bit of that pink, like that, just along the bottom. Mixing it up again, it will still look quite messy. Just little hints. Just need a little bit more, I think, in the copper, which is a little bit runny actually, but that's okay. Yep, that's what I wanted along there. Right, so now I'm going to get one of these kind of whirly organic type pieces, and again I'm not going to the edge because I don't want that straight edge. I want this to be flowing. It needs to flow quite a bit really. I'm just going to take some of the paint off and we'll just see where we go. Just putting a bit on here. Now with acrylic paint you can paint over it once it's dry. It's not like watercolour, it won't react to the underneath paint. The first coat won't react to the next coats if it's completely dry, so we use that to our advantage. Again, I want that kind of soft edge. I'm going to lift that up. That's good. That's kind of the effect that I want. I'm going to be going over the top of that, knocking it back, as I say, a little bit more with some white and some silver, but we're going to do that a little bit later. So you're getting the idea that when we do this kind of collage art, it's not collage, stencil work, and with acrylics, there are multiple layers. And it's the when we start to build up the layers, that's when things can start to get really exciting. It's not all done all at the same time. That's just not how it works. So I'm just going to do a little bit more here. I wanted this the red, sort of the reddy orange that I had before. I really liked that. I'm just going to go over the top of that and come out. Yeah, that's knocking that back just a little bit. Now, don't be afraid to go over things. That edge is going to be a bit too much. Can you see how things are coming out down here? Still a little bit messy, but that's okay. That's just a little bit like this. Now, this is going to be a journal, so I do need to have some space in which to write, and so I am going to be writing a little bit here, but I still want to do a bit more to create more of a landscape. So I'm going to use my brush now. I'm going to pick up that purpley colour with the pink, just a little bit. I'm going to soften it up with the sponge, and what I'm going to do is to put in like a hill, it's going to be a hill. That's what it is. And as the skies are clearing a little bit here, and I look out of my studio window, I can see my hills, which is really nice. So I live in the West Country of England, in Dorset, and it's absolutely beautiful. But over the last few days, the weather has been awful. Really awful. There's been some really quite terrible floods, actually. I'm very lucky, I live on a hill, so I don't have floods. So you can see I'm just filling in a little bit. I'm using this soft brush, blending it. You can also use the sponge like this. I did think I had some white and I haven't got any left out, but a bit of that copper, you put a little bit of that in. But I do need to get a little bit of white, so I'll go and get that in a moment. But that's my rolling hill, my first one. the idea we've got some organic things going on in the foreground. So I've got my little bit of white here. Just going to put a little bit there. I don't want to completely obliterate what I've done before. I want to keep that, so I'm just going to blend that in and then just sort of fade it out. So all that happens is the paint is getting thinner. So I'm bringing that other hill, and you can be inspired by your own landscape. I think that's what makes our work just so much more exciting. So if you live in the middle of the town, and I grew up in the town, I was born in London, and up until quite recently I'd always lived in towns and cities, but always loved the countryside. So a lot of my early work is inspired by the city. So cityscapes and the excitement that the city brings. So you could do that. You could just be inspired by your own environment, or you could go out of your front door and see what you see and just be inspired by that. You don't feel that you have to go for miles. You really don't. And when I was teaching at college, so I was teaching in Surrey, in southeast England, and I would really encourage students just to look out of the window and just be inspired by that. There's just so much. When we start to open our eyes, we can see. we really can. There's beauty everywhere. I had one student who, when I was teaching photography, and he got very frustrated as he wasn't able to sort of travel very far, and he had family obligations and things like that. So I said, just whatever is on your doorstep, in your backyard. And he came back with the most fascinating photographs of the bins, the trash cans, and the wildlife that just grows. So grasses and flowers that were just coming up through the concrete. It was absolutely brilliant. And then sort of looking at the rust, and yeah, it was very, very good. So don't feel that you have to live somewhere beautiful, although I do think that there is beauty everywhere. So you can see I'm just putting in my rolling hills here, as this page is coming together. And I was thinking this was the middle page, but it isn't. That's the middle page. That's fine. This is the page. This is the pages after the middle page. It's fine. I'm actually going to leave that to dry now completely. So take about probably 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, because that paint is a little bit thick. And then I'm going to do another page in a similar with similar sorts of ideas. And then I'm going to come back to this one and do some things in the foreground. And by that time, I will have thought of a line of poetry or something, something like that. So I've started to write a few words on this double page, and I've put in a few little illustrations. I'll do a few more, but I'm going to be working on this for the next, probably the next few weeks, actually. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave a little comment. I read every single one. Honestly, the comments I get are just amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who takes time to leave a comment. It's just, yes, it's just wonderful. So thank you for your weather updates. We're just having a lot of weather across the world at the moment. It's just quite extraordinary. And for those of you who have reached out because they've seen all the floods that we're having, thank you so much. We are absolutely fine. We live on top of a hill, so we're okay. But my neighbours down at the bottom of the hill, yep, some of them are really struggling at the minute, so that's a little bit concerning. So my thoughts are with them. So I'm just adding a few little elements here, just along the bottom, just sort of in anticipation of the spring, really. I know it's not going to come for ages, but just little doodles in black and in white. I really love doing this kind of thing. I would love to know what you're doing. If you want to share your work on the Facebook group, that would be brilliant. So we have two Facebook groups. One is Friday Art and Doodle Club for absolutely anybody. Please answer the questions and agree to the group rules. Had a few people request entry to the group, but they haven't answered the questions, so I've had to decline. You can, if that was you, try again and this time answer the questions. That would be great. It just means I know that you're a real person. So that would be good. And so that group, oh wow, so supportive. I say it's for absolutely anybody. You know, total beginner, or really experienced. Just sharing your work, getting the support and enthusiasm from other people. It's just wonderful. And then there's my Open Studio group, which is kind of linked to the Patreon site. So if you want to take your art a little bit further, you're very welcome to come and join me over there. But Open Studio is for anyone who's doing the courses, and I have got courses on YouTube that are absolutely free. So you might want to check those out. So there's Walking the Quiet Path, which is the most popular one at the moment. If you want to give yourself a little bit of a time out and permission, bit of a permission to create, you might like to check that out. I will put links below. And if you want to take your art a little bit further, then pop over to Patreon. Thank you so much for those of you who have already joined. I honestly could not do this without you. It's just, I just love it. I love helping people and seeing how they grow in a sort of a creative way, whether that's through drawing or painting, through photography or through writing. It's just wonderful. So you can see I'm just sort of doing some doodles here on this page, and I think I'm going to leave it like that for the moment, because I need to leave that bit to dry. Let's just pop it down there, but you can get the idea. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it to dry, and then I will close it all up again and then open it and show you how far we've got, and then that will be it. So this is where I've got so far. I've decided to call the whole thing Under a Fabulous Sky. I haven't done anything on the back yet. Let's just open this up a little bit. You can see it's still a little bit sticky actually, but we can open up, and I've just done a little one like that. Haven't done anything on there yet. Just started to put in a few trees, and I've got my middle bit that I'm still working on, a few little doodles of trees and things like that. And then this one that I've done the most on, and then just the starting point of the back few pages. And one of the reasons I really love these sorts of journals is that they're sort of unexpected bits when you fold over the pages, and I just think that's really quite exciting. If you have enjoyed this one, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel, or perhaps giving it a little bit of a like.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed this week's Friday Art, and that you've got ideas for your own journal, which I would love to see. So if you want to see some more, look at this one up here, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.